Good afternoon. This is Richard Peter here in Dallas, Texas. Today's date is Thursday, March the 12th, 2009. I had the pleasure, or should I say the unpleasure, if that's a valid word, of listening to Tim Geithner, the Secretary of Treasury under President Obama, testify before the House of Representatives today about his solution for the ailing American economy. Now, I'm going to strip away all the fancy language, and I'm going to try to give this to you in terms that you all can understand. But once you understand this, I want you to get mad as hell, organize yourselves, and I'm going to give you a method to do that. But I want you to take action. Just listening to me talk and other people on YouTube talk about these serious problems our nation is facing is not going to solve the problem. You're going to have to get together and organize around simple ideas, simple concepts, and I'm going to try to make this very clear to you so that you'll look at yourself in the mirror when you're shaving in the morning and say, I'm stupid for not joining Richard and the glorious National Party in this effort to take back our economic lives. All right, let me put it in plain English. Geithner talks about toxic assets or legacy assets stopping up the credit system. Now, let me put that in plain English. What he means by a toxic asset is an almost fraudulent loan where people were getting into houses with zero down at overinflated appraisals, and then they were allowed to adjust their mortgages upward on the faulty assumption that salaries would go up and they could make the extra payments. Or they were allowed to state their income, put zero down if they had reasonably good credit, and walk into a $300,000 home when they could really afford only a $500 a month apartment. Or toxic assets or legacy assets are people that are being thrown out of their homes. Their furniture is being put out on the front yard for it to be rained on. And the sheriff is going to throw them out with his gun in his holster and maybe even draw into their heads at some point to get them out of their homes and into a shelter, or worse, into their automobiles. Sure, they're going to be able to get a job while living in a car and brushing their teeth in the restrooms at gas stations, or then living on the under a bridge without even out an automobile. How are they going to apply for a job then? The body odor is enough to cause any employer not to want to hire them. So that's what's called toxic assets. Put faces on these suffering people that have been raped financially. Put faces on them. You may be one of them that I'm talking to here today. Oh, well, the poor banks need to have all this stripped away. The toxic assets need to be taken off the bank books so that the banks can have a clean balance sheet and start lending more money as they see fit. Hogwash. That's not at all what's going on here, folks. Here is what Geithner wants to do. He wants to form a public-private partnership. Now let me explain the public part of this to you. That's you, the taxpayer, to the tune of trillions of dollars and more coming. Notice they don't send you $100,000 to help you keep your home and your car, or maybe start up a small business. No, they're going to the banks who created these fraudulent loans, almost criminal loans, under the color of law, put people into houses so they could loan money and churn it over and over and over again using the system known as fractional banking, basically a huge Ponzi scheme. Madoff's going to prison, in jail today for doing a Ponzi scheme, and the government is doing nothing else with fractional reserve banking other than creating a Ponzi scheme of credit and paper, multiplying and printing money out of thin air to loan out at interest while you put your hard assets up as collateral, your houses, your cars, your lands. Wake up, folks. They want to strip away these toxic assets so they can go out and loan more money. Well, I got news. With unemployment rising at unprecedented levels in American history, I don't care if you strip away their toxic assets and give them trillions of more dollars to put into a public-private partnership. Underline private. Follow the money, folks. Follow the money. Do you know what they mean by private investors working together with the government? The government wants to insure these private investors against any loss. They want to leverage this 20 to 1 so that private money can come in and buy these toxic assets, these bad loans, and help you, the American taxpayer. Who are these private people? Soros, Warren Buffett, the Saudi Arabian oil-rich families, China and sovereign wealth trusts that are bound in China and Japan. It's not you that just got laid off and being thrown out of your home that's going to be investing in these toxic assets. No, they're going to be private individuals that are tied to the Obama administration, just like this new public-private partnership they have with the doctors who are going to modernize American medical records when most Americans can't even afford to go into the doctor to have a medical record modernized. Do you realize what's going on here? If they really wanted to help people with a stimulus, they'd send the money directly to the people. They would set up I've already given them the idea of setting up a job bank, a national job bank, where they would be given up to $30,000, those that are unemployed, to go to this job bank. And if the people in the job bank hired within 90 days or less, immediately they could get up to $30,000 to help these folks get employment again. That solves the job problem, doesn't it? The housing problem, go out and give people vouchers to go out and buy energy efficient homes, $20,000 or $30,000. The automobile problem, give them vouchers in 90 days or less to go out and buy energy efficient cars. You'd find the auto industry recovering quite quickly. But no, they don't want to give the money directly to you or the American business owner. They want to give it to the banks. And who does Geithner work for? The Federal Reserve Bank. Do you really think that he, as a public official looking out for you? I almost vomited today when he got up before Congress and said, I'm looking out for the American people. He's not. He's looking out for, number one, himself. Number two, he's looking out for the bankers, and he's nothing but a whore of the bankers. And number three, the private investors, like Warren Buffett, Soros, the big sovereign wealth funds, the exchange-traded funds that are going to come in and buy up these toxic assets at pennies on the dollar, and they're going to do it with your tax money because he's going to be in Geithner's going to be in partnership with them and leverage it up so these people can get all the gain and take none of the risk. Look, if you really want to help the American taxpayer, shut the banks down for about 30 days, put them out of business, put in a brand new board, take the old board, the old president and the old executives who ran that thing into the ground, and make them stand trial criminally, folks. Put them in jail, put them in prison along with Madoff. Are you listening to me? That's what needs to be done. Then you take those toxic assets and you set up a resolution trust corporation owned by you and I, the taxpayer, and you auction them off to the highest bidder. Problem solved. No, no, no. They are using this problem, which I suspect they themselves have created, of the boom and bust cycle by manipulating money, and it's hard for me to believe they didn't consciously open these credit markets up so that people would destroy their lives financially and they could benefit by, quote, solving the problem and another massive transfer of infinite wealth into the hands of 400 or 500 banking families, my friend. That's exactly what is happening here. Now, if you want to do something about this, if you want to get organized, if you want to help yourselves and your families, pick up the phone and call me and join me in an infinitely multiplying program that the glorious National Party has set forth. I will discuss this with you privately. The concept, or at least our contracts, have been approved by PayPal. We can dig ourselves out of this hell that the bankers have put us in. We can take back our country. We can begin a new and glorious nation where we have a gold, where all of our money is backed by gold and or silver, and we can return our nation to a nation governed by not the Keynesian school of economics, but by the God-given school of economics, and that's based on doing what is right all of the time. If you don't fight against evil now, you never will. God bless you.